Well, it is unusual, and certainly at the time it was unusual. This is the first evidence we have of sabotage successfully committed here by the Russian state, but also one of the first cases to use the new National Security Act from the start to finish. So it's quite an unusual case. Well, most of the contact is being managed online. So one of the things which is clear to us is that we've created a hostile operating environment, particularly for Russia, since Salisbury. And as a result, they need to think of different ways of operating. And so what they're doing is using social media, some encrypted social media, to reach out to young people here. They're mostly people involved in criminality or on the periphery of crime, and then enticing them into conducting activity on their behalf. But as we saw with Earl in this case, he was a willing participant. In fact, he was going further, trying to offer additional support to the Russian state for activity here in the UK, but also in Europe. So Earl joined a Telegram group, which was associated to the Wagner Group, which in essence now, as we know, is really the Russian state. And as a result of that contact with a bot called PrivatBot, in essence, he then engaged in conversation, was encouraged to do some activity on their behalf. That included conducting hostile reconnaissance of sites in London, of targeting an individual who was an outspoken critic of Vladimir Putin. But also in this case, of course, surveil the warehouse with a view to sort of keeping an eye on what was happening at that warehouse, and then eventually encouraging some contacts of his, and then in the end, third or fourth level contacts of his to light the fire at the warehouse. So in this case, Earl was offered a certain amount of money, in the thousands, but of course, one of the risks to foreign states in using criminal proxies in this way is whilst they might be able to then remove themselves from blame for this activity, although our investigation was absolutely core in showing that this was Russia. So that didn't work for them in this case. But the other thing, of course, is they lose control of those proxies. So they can tell them what to do, but they're going to go and do their own thing anyway. And that's what happened in this case. The fire wasn't meant to be set when it was set. And so Earl received less money, I think around £9,000, but less money than he was due to receive because, of course, he didn't wait for instructions before he set the fire. So there isn't really a pattern per se, but we are noticing that some people are proactively reaching out online. So they're trying to get in touch with people like Iran, like Russia, and offering their services. Equally though, some people are being approached online to do this, and most of this is online. They are tending to be young men, so late teens, early to mid-20s. Most we've seen so far are involved in crime, or the periphery of crime at least. They really are the definition of proxies working on behalf of a foreign government here in this country to undertake their activity, which directly harms us. But I think this case demonstrates a few things. The first thing is, if you are Russia and you're looking to harm our national security or risk the public here, we will confront you and we will work with partners to disrupt your activity. This has been successfully done in this case. But it should send a message too to those that might be tempted to work for foreign states. Don't do it. You know, you are risking the public, you're risking your own well-being and your own life to work on behalf of a foreign state that is using you as a tool for their own means. And we'll see today the sentence, I think, will reflect a deterrent to those that may wish to get involved.